What if the monkey revealed who really controls the Federal Reserve? Imagine that on one of those ordinary days, while the news repeats the same headlines about inflation, interest rates, and bureaucratic speeches, a monkey, yes, the same eccentric character who has ventured into improbable theories before, appears with information so explosive that it could rewrite the history of the global economy. The scene begins in a forgotten laboratory in the basement of a research institute, where an experiment that should never have been authorized results in something completely unexpected. The monkey, trained to recognize financial patterns, begins to react strangely to confidential reports that should never have been accessed. It gestures, points, gathers papers, connects graphs, and with frightening precision, reveals a line of reasoning that not even experts would dare to suggest in public. The first clue appears when the monkey identifies an invisible pattern in the Federal Reserve as communications. Subtle signals, date alignments, synchronized movements that make no sense when considered purely technical decisions. It taps on the glass, insisting that someone observe it. Analyzing the patterns, researchers realize they are not coincidences, they are signatures, hidden messages, deliberate markings. But whose signatures? It's just almost as if someone is using the Federal Reserve as a smokescreen to conduct decisions with planetary impacts. And, of course, that's where curiosity is sparked. If it's not the Fed itself making the final decisions, then who is behind it? The monkey continues its unusual investigation. It observes recorded meetings, market reactions, reports from foreign central banks. And in each pattern, it finds something disturbing. The Fed's biggest, seemingly independent decisions always happen after discrete meetings of a small group of institutions that don't appear in any public documents. Banks? Corporations? Intergovernmental organizations? No, none of that. It was something even more discreet, a consortium of ultra-wealthy families whose wealth is so vast that their names rarely appear in any ranking, simply because they don't need to. And the monkey's revelation, though it seems absurd, begins to fit together like a missing piece of a puzzle that has been missing for decades. When researchers begin to examine the records, they discover something unsettling. Despite the Federal Reserve being presented as an independent institution, there are gigantic financial flows passing through holding companies controlled by these families. These are not direct transactions, but rather control trails, stakes in companies that influence broad decisions, complex investment networks that give the impression of being dispersed paths but always end up in the same hands. And incredibly, the monkey, with its vision free from prejudice and analytical biases, is the one that can see most clearly the pattern that humans have ignored for decades. But the story's turning point occurs when the monkey finds a document that shouldn't exist. A report detailing a secret meeting that took place over 50 years ago, a crucial encounter between representatives of these families. The document describes long-term plans to manipulate global economic cycles in order to maintain the stability necessary for their fortunes to continue growing without external interference. And in this report, something even more striking appears: the explicit discussion of how to influence the creation and structure of the modern Federal Reserve, ensuring that, officially, everything appeared independent, but that, in practice, it remained aligned with their interests. The restless monkey throws the paper on the table and repeatedly points to a specific passage. The researchers approach and read the blood-curdling sentence: "The Federal Reserve will be the perfect front for decisions that can never be publicly discussed." Suddenly, everything changes. The idea that a group of people could manipulate the global economy seemed like a conspiracy theory until that moment. Now, before them was the first concrete evidence that this could be real. Of course, as soon as the discovery begins to take shape, the atmosphere changes drastically. People who never showed any interest in the lab start showing up. Meetings are scheduled by authorities. Suspicious emails arrive requesting access to the files. The entire institute begins to feel a weight in the air, as if someone or several someones wanted to ensure that this revelation never left the premises. The monkey senses the tension and becomes restless, as if it knows something dangerous is nearby. It points at cameras, tries to hide, reacts to any noise in the corridor. The danger is real. But before the team loses control of the situation, the monkey acts on its own. In an unexpected move, it accesses the computer, saves all the files, compresses the information, and sends everything to the cloud with an encryption code that no one had taught it. The researchers are stunned, unable to imagine how it managed that. Some say it was instinct. Others that it was pure chance. But the truth is that the monkey knew that information needed to get out of there, and fast. A few hours later, the lights in the lab go out. Unknown men enter the building. Documents are collected, computers are confiscated, and everyone present is interrogated. But what they don't know is that the truth is already circulating. In forums, on social media, in private groups, small snippets of the content begin to leak. And each leak generates more questions. Who, after all, controls the most powerful financial structure on the planet? Why was this identity hidden for so long? And most importantly, what is the next step for these families now that they have been exposed? The video ends with the monkey looking directly at the camera, as if to say, "You still haven't understood even half of what's behind this." And it's at this point that the viewer realizes the story is far from over. There are more documents, more patterns, more secrets that haven't yet been revealed, and that only someone with the audacity and unpredictability of that monkey would be able to find.